Hey there, I'm Stephanie Elizabeth, and I'm an intuitive coach, guide, and multidimensional creative. I started my business in 2017. It's all about supporting you as a highly sensitive person to find guidance, trust your intuition, and embrace your true nature, who you truly are. So in addition to my business, I am also a professional studio session vocalist and also a singer-songwriter and keyboard player, music producer, and I've been singing all my life ever since I was a little kid. I also love to create digital art and design, and it's actually one of my favorite ways to procrastinate when I have business stuff to do. But also, I really just love cultivating beauty, and that creative spirit is a core part of who I am. At the same time, like most of us, I also deal with self-criticism, perfectionism, pressure, procrastination, all the things steal away our joy and steal away our creativity and our intuition and our magic, right? Even professionals struggle with all of these things sometimes. As I often remind myself and my clients, these blocks that come up, these patterns, those are mostly not something about you. It's not a personal character flaw or some kind of weakness in you. It's actually a result of the cultural conditioning that you have been socialized into, as well as whatever formative experiences you have had personally around your creativity and your creative expression, or even just how you're spending your free time, what you choose to engage in just for the enjoyment of it. Right? So this is a culture thing. It's not a you thing. And the good news is that you can shift your personal culture. We're trying to shift the collective culture. That's a long-term pursuit, but you can shift your personal culture now. So that's what I want to invite you into. So here's the thing. Kids don't have these same creative blocks. That's how I know that this is a conditioning thing. When I think about myself as a child, creativity was like my plaything. I had so much creative freedom. I loved to draw and write and sing and dance and dress up and play and put on performances and make people laugh and just be silly, be alive, be vibrant. Like that's who I am. As a really little kid, I wanted to grow up and be a cartoonist, and I also wanted to be a journalist, and I also wanted to be a Broadway star. Very ambitious little one that I was. I didn't have shame. I didn't have fear of people seeing me, people seeing what I was creating. I was excited to share it. All of that started to change when I got into middle school. And this was a time when I was starting to get bullied at school. And even apart from that, I was just starting to compare myself a lot more to my peers. And there's a couple like formative experiences that come to mind for me. One of which is going to a school dance. And I was really excited, and it was like a 70s theme school dance, and I think I wore like some of my mom's old clothes from the 70s. And then at one point we were invited to like one at a time dance across the floor. I got laughed at, and it was completely crushing and humiliating. And that really made a mark for me around feeling free in my body in front of other people. The other thing that I remember was being in art class, which was always one of my favorite subjects in elementary school. But when I got to middle school, towards the beginning of the year, we were supposed to be drawing a still life. And I looked around and I saw some of my classmates had absolutely amazing drawings. And so I thought, well, I guess this isn't my thing anymore. So at that time, I stopped any kind of visual art creation. Perfectionism really took hold. And if you're gonna do something, you better be good at it. It's so insidious that it never ends because your inner perfectionist is never going to be satisfied. And here's the thing, perfection does not exist. It's literally fake, okay? It's fake. And it's worse, my perfectionism was so bad that I couldn't even do any practicing by myself, because when I would hear myself sounding less than perfect, it brought up so much shame and so much self-criticism that I would have to stop. So fast forward to 2020, I had released my first EP of original music called Karmic Love with my Starry Eyes project. I was really proud of what I created on that, but it was really a grind to get that out there. And so it wasn't until months later that I even considered doing music again. Because after I had released my EP, I was just so burned out. I had pressure to follow that up with something, fit with my brand as a music artist, and I was honestly pretty depressed at that time. So it really wasn't a creative, thriving time for me. But then the summer solstice rolled around. I had a rare window of time to myself at home. So I felt a little more freedom to do some creative play. I felt like, let's see what I can do. I don't know, I just kind of want to play. And for some reason, it felt like the right time to just record my play practice session. I wasn't trying to record for any purpose. I wasn't planning to publish it or make anything out of it. I think I was really just trying to get more comfortable with playing while I'm being recorded. With no goal in mind, I started to just try things out. And initially I just kind of laid down this drone sound, and then I looped a weird keyboard riff over the top. And then I recorded some vocalizations, like some improv that didn't have words, it was just sounds. And I played at that for a bit, and I was experiencing the joy and the pleasure of making whatever sounds felt good to me. I didn't make it into a song, it was just like a little snippet. And that was that until a few weeks later when I felt inspired to revisit it. When I was listening back, I realized that I was starting to feel more calm. And I realized that this track that I had created, just being in the moment with it, that was actually supporting my nervous system. So I actually looped it for a bit and just kind of did a little sound meditation. And so that was really cool. And I was like, what if I made more of this type of music? Like for myself, and maybe other people would also find it relaxing or supportive. So I kind of just had a little spark of insight there. And at the same time, I was really getting closer with my guides and my ancestors in particular. And I really felt their support around reclaiming my creativity and the joy of creating at this time. Within a month, I had completed another song called Crystal Waves, and it's absolutely one of my favorites. I was creating something for myself, and I was also inspired to include some audio clips from the nature trail where I live. So I went out and I just recorded whatever sounds were happening along the trail, and some of my friends from the trail got to be part of my song, and it was just so much fun to feel this coming together, outside of the box that I had of what my music needed to be. Throughout this process, my guides were dropping in to nudge me along at every point along the way. That's the thing with my guides, and maybe this is the case for you as well, that it's very fluid how my intuition works. I can certainly connect with them if I want to sit down in a meditation and call them in and do a visit with them. But even if I don't do that, it's those little nudges, those little synchronicities, those little breadcrumbs, the little ooh, when something cool crosses your path. Or maybe it's a bird that flies by your window, and when you see it, you know that's a message from your guides. It was really important for me at that time to know that my guides were with me. Knowing their support was there, just in the background, was what I needed to go through this process in a more unstructured way, and to just play and experiment and embrace the improv. And this is the first time that I created something that I had no goal. So I ended up releasing the album Luminosity less than 2 months after I had made that first recording on the summer solstice. It was just a completely different experience of creating something and not coming from that perfectionism. I still had that voice turning up, right? Oh, I wish that vocal sounded a little better. But the thing was that I didn't want to go back and re-record my vocal because it wasn't going to have the same energy. It wasn't going to capture that solstice day. And that was really important. That was part of the magic and what I wanted to transmit to my listener as well, so that they could have their own experience, their own direct experience. So it's pretty mystical, it's pretty witchy, and it really just took me into another level of creating. So following my interest, following my joy, my pleasure, my aliveness, that has been my key. And also knowing that my guides are with me and trusting my intuition and my imagination as a key source to guide me in my creative pursuits. So I want to share some of my tips with you of how you can start to cultivate this for yourself. So my number one tip is to release goals and expectations around your creative practice. So especially for AuDHD folks, but really for anybody in this culture, those goals and those expectations can often create a sense of pressure. Do things that because they're fun, because you want to. Paradoxically, when you take the pressure off, it's actually easier to create because your nervous system isn't activated under the threat of perfectionism. So focus on the fun, focus on the ease, and trust that the creative output will follow. And again, create for yourself. Create the things that make you happy, not something that you think is going to be popular or impressive or productive or useful. Lately, what I've been getting into for fun is karaoke at home. And it's something that is just for me and just because I enjoy it. It's a silly little hobby. So that's the thing about creativity. It doesn't even have to be anything you put out there. It can just be for you in the moment. If I had had that session on the summer solstice and that's all I did, that still would have been an expression of my creative spirit. That still would have been a meaningful creative experience for me. Is there something that you did as a kid that you've given up that maybe it's time to reclaim that? Even if you suck, I'm giving you permission to do it and be mediocre. It can still be fun and it can still be life-giving, and we really need more life in our lives, don't we? Currently, I'm working on a new song based on a poem that I wrote 12 years ago. It's never too late to resume your creative expressions. Now, I want to speak specifically to melding intuition with your creative practice. So a really key part of this is creating space to receive your intuitive knowing, receive your creative inspiration, that unstructured time, that quiet time, and it will flow in when you're connecting to yourself, connecting to your body. But we have to create that space, because if you're always taking in, consuming somebody else's perspective, somebody else's creation, somebody else's voice, how are you going to hear yours? So give yourself that space. Intuition and imagination are connected. It's really not even relevant most of the time to try and discern between the two. It's a false binary. So when it comes to creating intuitively, go to your imagination, use your imagination. And the fact is, you're probably already doing that. If you're a creative, then you're already using your imagination, which means you're already using your intuition, even if you think you're not intuitive. Also with that, our wonderful logical minds love to jump in and come up with all kinds of problems and questions and challenges and opinions, right? And that's one of the ways that perfectionism shows up, that enforces these old ways of how we have to be in order to be acceptable. It's the same thing that happens with your intuition, like all those skeptical questions. Well, how do you know that? Well, are you sure that's really what your guides are saying? Well, that doesn't make sense, right? The thing is, your brain is never going to stop. And so when you're trying to get your inspiration, you're trying to channel something, or you just want to engage in an activity just for fun, just tell that part of you, thanks, but no thanks. But let yourself get the message. Let yourself get the words down on the paper. or receive your inspiration, your brainstorming. Get it out of your brain, and then you can edit later, right? We don't have to edit as we go because it's going to take way too long. It feels miserable. And then sometimes you might edit out things that were really juicy that would have been amazing to leave in there. So the same thing is true with your intuitive creations. Just let it come through you and decide what to do with it later. And then finally, calling in some spiritual, energetic supports. So as I mentioned, your guides are like this ever-present source of guidance running through your day. They're coming to you through all of your intuitive channels, whether or not you know it's them. They're there for you and they're sending you guidance. But when you intentionally call them in, that support is gonna be really key for your nervous system and for you to tap into that more expansive part of you that just wants to create without all the extra bullshit. Also, going out in nature is an amazing support. It can also be a direct source of intuitive insight for a lot of highly sensitive folks where we feel very connected with the earth, spiritually, energetically. I'm guessing that's true for you as well. And if that's the case, then you can go on a walk with your guides. You can go on a walk with the land, wherever you are. Ask them, hey, if you have any tips, send them my way. And just be open as you walk. You don't have to hardcore think about it. Just be open to what wants to come through. It's as simple as just inviting them in. I do have a free resource, the Spirit Guide Meeting Place Meditation, and this is a guided audio that I created to help you establish a meeting place with your guides in the imaginal realm and actually have a meeting with them where you can bring whatever questions you have to them. You can also go there and do your creative practice there with them, just having their support in that space. Visit the link down below to sign up for your free copy of the meditation. And when you sign up for that, you're also going to get a fun little email series that I created where I take you behind the scenes on how I worked with my guides to create that very meditation. Finally, I just want to invite you, if you're vibing with me, if you want to get closer to your guides, you want to be supported as a highly sensitive person, as a queer person, as a neurodivergent person, with somebody who gets you, come into Spirit Hour Meditation Circle. We do a monthly journey where you get with your guides and you'll get guidance directly from them. And I also do work with people one-on-one in private coaching and mentoring if you want that private, fully customized support to help you get deeper connected with your guides. So you can find out more about that at my website, stephanie-elizabeth.com. So I just want to thank you so much for listening today, following along, and I'd love to hear from you if you have any stories this brought up for you, any questions, or anything you want to share. Feel free to reach out. And remember to nurture your creative spirit. It's a really important source to keep you going in these times. So happy creating. Take care.